Good morning, everyone. We want to welcome you all to Reading 365. I'm Floyd Stokes, and I am joined by Miss Kathy and Miss Debbie. We're so excited to have them. They have two wonderful stories to read to you all, and I'm just bursting with excitement to hear their stories because they're very, very good stories. We're first going to hear from Miss Debi. Miss Debi is retired, and she's a retired social worker, the mother of three children, and uh, I'll say most important, she's the grandmother of three children. It's about the grandkids at this point, ladies and gentlemen. And so we're going to hear from Miss Debi first, and then we're going to hear from Miss Kathy afterwards. So Miss Debi, what do you have to share with us?
Good morning. I'm
Good
going to
morning.
share one of my children's and grandchildren's favorite book. It's called The Monster at the End of This Book, starring lovable furry old Grover. Hello, everybody. What did that say? On the first page, what did that say? Did that say there will be a monster at the end of this book? It did. Oh, I am so scared of monsters. Listen, I have an idea. If you do not turn any pages, we will never get to the end of this book. And that is good because there is a monster at the end of this book. So please do not turn the page. You turned the page! Maybe you do not understand. You see, turning pages will bring us to the end of this book. And there is a monster at the end of this book. But this will stop you from turning pages. See, I am tying the pages together so you cannot. You turned another page. You do not know what you're doing to me. Now stop turning pages. There. I, Grover, am nailing this page to the next so that you will not be able to turn it, and we will not get any closer to the monster at the end of this book. All right. Do you know that every time you turn another page, you not only get us closer to the monster at the end of this book, but you make a terrible mess? I'm sorry, I think you're not seeing all the picture. I apologize. This will stop you from turning pages. A heavy, thick, solid, strong brick wall. I would just like to see you try to turn this page. Do you know that you are very strong? The next page is the end of this book, and there is a monster at the end of this book. Oh, I am so scared. Please do not turn the page. Please. Well, look at that. This is the end of the book, and the only one here is me. I, lovable furry old Grover, am the monster at the end of this book. And you were so scared. I told you there was nothing to be afraid of. The end. Oh, I am so embarrassed.
Cute, fantastically cute book. I love it.
I love that book.
I can just imagine kids now anticipating. So thank you so much for sharing that book with us.
My pleasure.
We're going to talk more about that and you a little bit later, okay? Mm-hmm. So next we have here Miss Kathy is at the Dauphin County Library, and she's at the East Shore Library, just a fantastic library for us to visit. We'll talk more about that a little bit later. But Miss Kathy, what do you have to share with us this morning?
This morning, we are going to read If You Come to Earth, and it's by Sophie Blackall. She not only wrote the book, she's the author, that she wrote the book, she also did all the illustrations or pictures. She traveled around the world and she wanted to send a message that we are kind to each other and the earth.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Okay. If you come to Earth, dear visitor from outer space, if you come to Earth, here's what you need to know. You can find us near the big sun, a tiny moon, and a bunch of other planets. Ours is the greeny blue one. That's Earth. The green and brown bits are land, and the blue stuff is water. People mostly live on the land in big cities, small towns, and tiny villages, and even just in the middle of nowhere. I don't know if you can see that tiny speck. That's a tiny house in the middle of nowhere. We live in all kinds of homes. You can look and see the different homes. There's a houseboat, a castle, there's a farmhouse, all different kinds of homes. And unfortunately, these are homes all over the world, but there still are people that do not have a home to live in. And all kinds of families. We are all different, and that's a good thing. There are more than 7 billion people on Earth. We all have bodies, but every body is different. Except for my friends who are identical twins. Except for Mustafa, he has a mole on his neck. Can you see that tiny mole? Inside our heads, we usually are thinking, you can't read our thoughts, but sometimes we show our feelings on our faces. So look at the different faces here. Think she's a little stumped. She's happy because she's smiling. He's biting his lip. So sometimes we can look at people's faces and tell what's going on. Even if we don't feel like it, we get dressed every day. We wear different clothes depending on what we do and where we live, and if it's hot or cold. There's lots of different weather in the world. Some of it is good and some of it is bad. I'll point out one good thing. He came from the rain, and what does he see? A rainbow. That's a good thing. A bad thing might be something like, oh, lightning. You want to run away from the lightning and go get in a safe place. So that would be a bad thing. Wherever people live, we usually have to go someplace else. There are lots of ways to get there. Look at all the different vehicles and boats, different cars, horses, a school bus, an airplane. All these things get us to a different place. I'm a kid, and kids go to school to learn stuff, so we'll know what to do when we're grown up. Look at all the kids drawing pictures. When the author traveled the world, some places they couldn't speak English. So what the students did is they drew a picture, and the picture told a story. Grown-ups do lots of things to make the world work. Think about what you might like to be when you grow up. But when people are not at work or at school or sick or asleep, we get to do whatever we want. Whatever we are doing, we need to eat when we are hungry. Some of us have food more than others, but we all need food and water to survive. We get water from the rain, which flows into little streams and big rivers and all the way to the sea. But you can't drink the water from the sea because it's too salty. Now I want you to look at this picture. There's a boat and there's a hump. And what it tells us is the sea looks empty. I'm going to turn the page, and I want you to think of what that bump might be. And when I turn the page, it's going to show you. So can you guess what it might be? Let's see. If you said whale, it was a whale. See his hump right there? The sea is full of fish. Fish can swim, but they cannot walk. Most animals can walk or swim or gallop or hop, but they can't fly. Did you ever see an elephant fly? No. Some birds can swim and walk and fly. So if I had to choose, I'd be a bird. And the penguin says, I can't fly. Birds can sing, so can whales. And people make all kinds of music on their own or all together in a band. Some of us who are deaf talk with our hands and faces. Some of us who are blind read with our fingers, and that is called Braille. If we are blind, we can imagine colors as shapes and sounds. Here is the colors that you will need to paint everything in the world. Some things are part of nature. All these things are found in nature, and some things are made by people. All of these things are made by people. Some things are big. Some things are small. Some things are invisible, like the wind, an invisible cloak, ghosts, electricity, the smell of roast chicken, old socks, and germs. We know that they're there, but we cannot see them with our eyes. They are invisible. Some germs can make you sick. So eating a woolly milk-capped toadstool or breathing in smoke or getting spat on by a slow loris, oh, sometimes people get hurt by accident and they go to the hospital. Look at the two identical twins. They're fighting. Mom, Mom. Sometimes we hurt each other. It's better when we help each other. Look at all the ways on here that people are helping each other. Babies are not very good at anything. Kids are good at lots of things. Grown-ups can do just about anything. But by the time that the babies are grown, they can help the older people. Older people are good at telling stories about the world when they were young. Kids are good at making up stories that haven't happened yet. Are they using their imagination? That's a good thing. There are lots of things we don't know. We don't know where we were born, where we were before we were born, or where will we go when we die. But right this minute, we are here together on this beautiful planet Earth. If you come to Earth, you can stay in my room. Love, Quinn. The end.
Wow.
Oops, I went the wrong way.
What a fantastic story. I've seen that book, have not read it, but wow. That's a really good summary of Earth and introducing kids to our planet and the wonderful diversity of our planet, whether people, animals, places, things, material. It's just fan. And you did a fantastic job reading too. And I tell you, Miss Kathy, I need to get one of those stands for my home to read it on. You all have, and Miss Debbie, you can join us, and you all have made the best professional presentation out of all our readers that we've had so far. so fantastic. So, and Miss Debbie, and so we're gonna do a little conversation now, Miss Debbie.
Okay.
Your book, so much fun. Again, I can see you now sharing that book with your grandkids and having them anticipating the monster at the end of the book, right?
Well, yeah, they also enjoy reading parts of it, like the yelling, all right, all right, all right. They do that. They scream it.
Yeah.
A lot of fun with that book.
Yeah, fantastic.
I agree with you though. I'd need a board like Miss Kathy has.
I think we're gonna keep coming back to the board, Miss Kathy, until we get one.
Yeah.
So I think your books tie in well together because well, actually, Miss Deb, you were talking about you are retired.
Yes.
And you prior to COVID, you enjoyed traveling, and of course, Miss Kathy book showed some wonderful places around the world that we can visit, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, what is one of those special places that you have visited before pre-COVID?
I'm thinking. I know I told you Albuquerque, New Mexico. But one of the cruises we took was to Cuba.
Okay.
And it was so interesting to get, we all have our perceptions of what was going on in Cuba, but to get there and actually interact with the with the folks, it was really interesting to see their perspective and understand, where they were coming from. It gave me a whole different perspective on Cuba. I won't go into it because I understand it's political, but it was a very interesting opportunity for us to interact with Cubans who remained in Cuba. I had talked to Cubans who'd come to the United States, And it was
Yes.
very eye-opening for me.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Wonderful. Wonderful. And Miss Kathy, so again, thank you for joining us. So you read, and of course, pre-COVID, did you read to kids live in person?
What we do now, well, before COVID, I would go out to daycares and
And
do
then how long have you been doing that for the library?
almost 5 years.
Okay, fantastic. And
And
I
so you
go ahead.
could do a baby program and then a toddler program right after that, and then a preschool story time right after that. So you usually do 3 programs in the morning. But because of COVID, we cannot visit the daycares now. So what we provide is the Born to Read, which is for babies,
Mhm.
toddler time, and then I do family time. And we do it on Zoom.
Yes.
And it's just coming up the first week in January. We just ended a session, and our next session starts first week in January, and it will run for 19 weeks.
Yeah, it's a wonderful program. Of course, we took advantage of that of our, when our kids were little. They're now little babies, 16 and 12. So,
Oh,
so thank you. So, what got you into wanting to read, to kids during, when before COVID, when you were going in, 5 years ago? What got you interested in that?
gosh, I just know that reading is so important
Mhm.
at an early age, that if you send them to school without the love of reading, they're not going to excel like they could.
Yeah.
So if you expose babies, starting with babies, and then your toddlers, and then preschool, then they're prepared. They have one foot in the door, and they're not going in there blind, getting frustrated because they can't read.
Yeah.
So reading is so important. And I feel really bad because a lot of the daycares too, like didn't have a lot of books. So whenever we can, we try to donate books to them so they have them on hand so they can read when we're not there.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I really miss that hands-on,
Yeah.
hugs, all that. But Zoom is good. Zoom is
Yeah.
good. I'm glad we're reaching them that way.
Hugs, wiping noses,
Yeah.
tying shoes,
Yeah.
button shirt. No, there's just nothing like it, right? There's just nothing
Right.
like it. And you made a really good point that is one thing to teach them to read. I've seen, parents and teachers trying to force a child to read, but it's one thing to start them when they're really young and train them that books are fun.
Mhm.
Books are, they will take you places, they're enjoyable, and to give them that love of reading and then to have them naturally gravitate to books is, like you said, it's one foot in the door and it's half the battle, right?
Right.
So thank you for mentioning that. So is the library open now?
We are open now. To get into the library, you must wear a mask.
Mhm.
You must have a mask on, but we still have curbside pickup. So you can do it online or call the library. And then when the books are ready, you get contacted, and then you come in and pull up to a space where the signs are, and then call that number, and then someone comes out and brings your books to you in a bag.
Wonderful. Well, we really appreciate your service during this time. You all have figured out a way to continue, and we really appreciate. It's invaluable, the service that you all provide to this community. So thank you, and thank you for joining us on Reading 365.
Sure. Thanks for having me. It was
And,
fun.
and thank you, Miss Debbie.
Oh, thank you.
As well. Wonderful job, both of you all. Enjoyed it. And please don't be strangers. And we will be reading 365 until September 30th. Thank you all for joining us every day at 11 o'clock. Have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye. You too.